wanted to go on that big journey. You liked your comfort at home. You felt good participating in everyday life, knowing what and where everything is, and how to play it.
You're not clairvoyant, you're not a witch. You've only got your eyes fixed.
You always thought that change was about striving, struggling, fighting, about doing something. You always thought you had to have some enormous strength or some magical pill.
You're not clairvoyant, you're not a witch. You've only got your eyes fixed.
You never wanted any supernatural powers. You didn't think there was something to see. You didn't want any insight. But now you got it. And there's nothing supernatural about that.
You can feel your eyesight already becoming better. Diopter brings the view into the full focus. Your eye muscles become stronger, more flexible. You don't need to strain them any longer. The world is here for you. You don't struggle to see it, and you don't have a blind eye to turn on it either. The whole world is opening up for you. The world is here for you. Enlarged, intense, luminous, as if in a movie theater. The world is here for you. The colors you never wanted to experience because you never knew they exist, now opening up for you. The world is here for you. This intense green green, so intense greenness, opening up for you. The world is here for you. It is all pervading. It gets into you. The world is here for you. Even with your eyes closed. It vibrates. You vibrate together in this greenness, in this lucidity of your sight. Now, you notice that it's not only the screen that you can see so clearly. You can see in the dark. And those stray dogs that were always so far away, as you passed them many times in the park, as you looked through your car window on the street. Now, these stray dogs are here, as if you were lifted up, straight in front of them. Still as you thought, they are flexible and pulsating, and they differ from each other. You discern them from the whole alley of other trees. You are facing them, face to face. Softness of moisture moss. The bicycle brakes. And those puddles are outlined by sharp yellow pollen. The bushes are there. A child jumps in, his eyes lightly tickled. The bicycle like a light of magnesia. Lumen by lumen, you see people. The bushes are there. The bonfire flame. The bicycle race. You are face to face. 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 For a while in my life, I gave into religion when the choice to believe became not enough, and I quit. I couldn't bear the silence that came. I had a hole in my stomach. For a while in my life, I was obsessed with money. When I wasted it all, there was a silence that came. I had a hole in my stomach. For a while in my life, I was obsessed with social media. When I deleted all my accounts, there was a silence that came. I had a hole in my stomach. For a while in my life, I was addicted to porn. When I finally quit, there was a silence that came. I had a hole in my stomach. For a while in my life, I was making art. When I finally quit, there was a silence that came. I had a hole in my stomach.
For a while in my life, I was addicted to you.
For a while
When
in
I
my
finally
life,
quit, there was a silence that
I
came.
was obsessed with
I had a
online
hole in my
shopping.
stomach. For a while in my
When I
life,
finally quit,
I was addicted to you.
there was a silence
When I
that came.
finally quit, there was a
I
silence
had
that
a hole
came.
in my stomach.
I had a hole in my stomach. For a while in
For
my
a while
life,
in my life,
I was addicted to you.
I was obsessed
When I
with
finally
my
quit,
kids.
there was a silence that came.
When I finally quit,
I had a hole in my stomach.
there was
For a while
silence
in
that
my
came.
life, I was addicted
I
to
had a
you.
hole in my stomach.
When I finally quit,
For a while
there
in
was
my
a silence
life,
that came.
I was
had a hole in
addicted
my
to
stomach.
sugar.
For a while in
When
my
I
life,
finally quit,
I was addicted to you.
there was a silence that
When I
came.
finally quit,
I
there
had
was
a
a
hole
silence
in my
that came.
stomach.
I had a hole in my stomach.
For a while in my life, I was addicted to you. When I finally quit, there was a silence that came. I had a hole in my stomach. For a while in my life, I was addicted to you. When I finally quit, there was a silence that came. I had a hole in my stomach. For a while in my life, I was addicted to you. When I finally quit, there was a silence that came. I had a hole in my stomach. For a while in my life, I was addicted to you. When I finally quit, there was a silence that came. I had a hole in my stomach. For a while in my life, I was addicted to you. When I finally quit, there was a silence that came. I had a hole in my stomach. For a while in my life, I was addicted to you. When I finally quit, there was a silence that came. I had a hole in my stomach. For a while in my life, I was addicted to you. When I finally quit, there was a silence that came. I had a hole in my stomach. For a while in my life, I was addicted to you. The world is here for you. Let it in. The world is here for you. Let it in. Let the world inside you, those trees slowly growing, just fall into the green, moist autumn winds flowing. Let the world inside you, those trees slowly growing, just fall into the green, moist autumn winds flowing. Let the world inside you, those trees slowly growing, just fall into the green, moist autumn winds flowing. Let the world inside you, those trees slowly growing, just fall into the green, moist autumn winds flowing. Trees slowly growing, warm air giving birth, pollution, traffic jams, crashes, autumn light. Trees slowly growing, warm air giving birth, pollution, traffic jams, crashes, autumn light.
The world is here for you.
Let it in.
The world is here for you.
Let it in. All fears, contamination, getting weak, phantom limbs, decay, manipulation, desperation, giving in. All fears, contamination, getting weak, phantom limbs, decay, manipulation, desperation, giving in. All fears, contamination, getting weak, phantom limbs, decay, manipulation, desperation, giving in. All fears, contamination, getting weak, phantom limbs, decay, manipulation, desperation, giving in.
The world is here for you.
Let it in.
The world is here for you.
Let it in.
The world is here for you.
Let it in.
The world is here for you.
Let it in. Miracles, vacation, separation, running late, relief, anticipation, acid, ashes, let it in. Miracles, vacation, separation, running late, relief, anticipation, acid, ashes, let it in. Miracles, vacation, separation, running late, relief, anticipation, acid, ashes, let it in. Miracles, vacation, separation, running late, relief, anticipation, acid, ashes, let it in.
The world is here for you.
Let it in.
The world is here for you.
Let it in.
The world is here for you.
Let it in.
The world is here for you.